What if the child you buried in your heart never truly died? What if the pain that shaped Jamie and Claire's entire life was built on a lie? In the very first moments of Outlander Season 8, Episode 1, one name returns from the past and nothing is ever the same again. Faith. For years, Jamie and Claire Fraser lived with a wound that never healed. Faith was not just a child they lost. She was a future that was taken from them before it had a chance to begin. Her loss shaped their marriage, their choices, and the quiet sadness that followed them through time. They learned how to survive it, but they never learned how to forget it. Season 8 opens by reminding us of that pain before doing something no one was ready for. It brings faith back into the story. The episode begins calmly, almost gently. Jamie and Claire are older now. They have seen wars, deaths, and miracles. They believe there are no surprises left for them. That sense of peace does not last long. A single detail, a name spoken too carefully, begins to crack open the past. At first, it feels like a misunderstanding, a rumor, something that cannot be true. But Outlander has always been a story where the impossible becomes real, and this moment is no different. Claire is the first to feel it. Not hope, but fear. Hope would be too painful. Her reaction is quiet but powerful. You can see it in her hesitation, in the way she struggles to breathe normally. Faith is not a memory Claire keeps locked away. Faith is something she lives with every day. The idea that she might still be alive feels almost cruel. Claire has lived too long with grief to trust joy. Jamie reacts differently. He does not allow himself to imagine anything at all. Jamie Fraser has always been a man who carries his pain in silence. He buried faith in his heart and built his strength on acceptance. To hear her name again feels like the ground shifting under his feet. It challenges the one thing he believed was certain. That loss was final. The episode does not rush this moment. It lets the shock settle. The writers understand that Faith's return is not a twist meant for surprise alone. It is emotional dynamite. Everything Jamie and Claire endured after her loss now feels different. Their suffering did not disappear, but its meaning begins to change. What makes this reveal so powerful is timing. This is the final season. There is no future season to fix mistakes or soften the impact. Faith's return is not a side story. It is placed at the very start because it becomes the heart of everything that follows. The past is no longer something they can leave behind. It has come back, evolved, breathing and demanding answers. The episode carefully avoids giving immediate clarity. We are not shown faith right away. Instead, we see reactions. We see disbelief. We see anger. We see confusion. This choice matters. It reminds the audience that this is not about shock value. It is about emotional truth. Jamie and Claire must face the possibility before they face the person. As the truth slowly becomes harder to deny, a terrifying question rises. If Faith lived, then what else was taken from them without their knowledge? Who decided her fate? And why was she hidden from the people who loved her most? The silence between Jamie and Claire says more than words ever could. Their shared grief once brought them closer. Now, this revelation threatens to pull them apart. Not because of blame, but because of fear. Fear of hoping again. Fear of loving again. Fear of what it means to reopen a wound that defined their lives. This is how Season 8 begins. Not with war or time travel, but with a single truth that shatters everything. Faith's return is not just a miracle, it is a reckoning. And from this moment on, Jamie and Claire's fate is no longer written by loss, but by the terrifying possibility that their greatest sorrow was never meant to end this way. What happens when the pain you learn to live with suddenly has an answer? What happens when love returns, but it arrives carrying years of silence, secrets, and stolen time? In Section 2, Faith's return stops being a mystery and becomes something far more dangerous. It becomes real. Once the truth can no longer be denied, Jamie and Claire are forced to face something they never prepared for. Not grief, but hope. And hope, after decades of loss, is terrifying. Faith's return does not arrive with warmth or comfort. It arrives with questions that cut deeper than any blade. Questions about time, choice, and the life that was taken from them without consent. Claire struggles the most at first. As a doctor, she understands survival. She knows miracles can happen. But as a mother, she feels betrayed by the universe itself. Every tear she shed, every night she spent wondering what Faith might have become, now feels heavier. Not because it was wasted, but because it was forced upon her. Claire's mind races through the past, replaying moments with painful clarity. The birth, the loss, the silence that followed. And now, the truth threatens to break her in a way grief never did. Jamie's reaction is quieter, but no less powerful. He does not speak much, he watches, he listens. Jamie Fraser is a man who has always measured his worth by what he can protect. Knowing his daughter lived a life without him shakes the very core of who he is. He does not ask why she survived. He asks why he was not there. That guilt settles deep inside him, growing heavier with every passing moment. Faith's existence changes the meaning of their marriage. Jamie and Claire built their love on survival. They endured separation, war, time, and death. But Faith's return introduces a new challenge. They must now learn how to live with something they were never meant to recover. Love that was paused, not lost. Parenthood that was stolen, not ended. The episode carefully shows how differently they process this truth. Claire wants answers immediately. She wants to know where Faith has been, who raised her, and what pain she endured alone. Jamie wants time. He fears that rushing forward might destroy what little chance they have left. This difference creates tension, not anger, but distance. A quiet space between two people who love each other deeply but are terrified of making the wrong step. Faith's return also forces Jamie and Claire to confront something uncomfortable. The past is no longer fixed. They always believed some things could not be changed. Faith proves that belief was wrong. If she lived, then fate is not as rigid as they once thought. And that realization is dangerous, because if fate can bend, then every choice they made afterward must be questioned. Did they suffer for nothing? Did they grieve when they did not have to? These thoughts haunt them, even though neither dares to say them out loud. Outlander has always been a story about consequences, and here, the consequence is emotional truth. Pain still mattered. Loss still shaped them. But now it carries a shadow of injustice. The episode uses silence beautifully. Long looks, broken sentences, hands that almost touch but pull away. These small moments show how deeply Faith's return changes their bond. Jamie and Claire are no longer just survivors of tragedy. They are parents standing at the edge of a second chance, unsure if they deserve it. What makes this section so powerful is that Faith is not treated as a symbol. She is not a miracle meant to fix the past. She is a living person shaped by years Jamie and Claire were not part of. And that reality hurts more than her absence ever did. Loving her now means accepting the life they were denied. As the episode moves forward, one truth becomes clear. Faith's return does not heal Jamie and Claire. It tests them. It forces them to grow in a way grief never demanded. And for the first time in a long while, their greatest enemy is not time, war, or fate. It is the fear of hoping again. By the end of this section, Jamie and Claire stand changed, not broken, but shaken. Their story, once defined by what they lost, is now shaped by what they must face. And as Outlander pushes deeper into its final chapter, one thing is clear. One life returning does not change just two people. It sends shockwaves through everyone connected to them. Faith's survival is not a private miracle. It is a force that begins to bend family bonds, time itself, and the future no one can see yet. Faith's return does not exist in isolation. The moment her survival becomes real, its impact spreads outward, touching every part of the Fraser family and the fragile balance they have built across time. What begins as a deeply personal reckoning for Jamie and Claire soon becomes something much larger. It becomes a question of destiny. Brianna feels it almost immediately. She has grown up knowing Faith only as a ghost, a sister who existed in stories, in sadness, and in silence. To learn that Faith lived a full life without any of them creates a quiet storm inside her. Brianna is caught between joy and loss. Joy that her sister is alive. Loss for the bond they were never allowed to share. Faith's return forces Brianna to confront a truth she never expected. Her family history is not finished. It is still unfolding. Roger, ever the observer, understands the danger faster than most. He has always respected time as something powerful and unforgiving. To him, Faith's survival is not just emotional, it is a warning. If the past can hide something this large, then the rules they believed govern time may be incomplete. Roger worries not about what has happened, but about what might still change. And in a world shaped by cause and effect, that fear is justified. The episode hints that Faith's life unfolded along a path shaped by others. Someone made a choice, someone kept a secret, and that secret did not just protect Faith. It altered the future for everyone connected to her. This revelation brings a heavy truth to the surface. Fate did not save Faith alone. Fate made decisions on behalf of an entire family. Time travel, once treated as a burden Jamie and Claire endured, now becomes something more complex. Faith's return suggests that time is not just cruel or kind. It is selective. It allows survival but demands silence. It offers life but steals connection. And that trade feels almost unfair. As the family begins to understand this, tension grows, not between characters, but between ideas. Is it better to survive unseen or to be loved and lost? Faith's existence forces everyone to answer that question differently. There is no comfort in the answer, only truth. Jamie especially struggles with what this means for destiny. He has always believed that some things are meant to happen no matter the cost, but Faith challenges that belief. Her survival feels planned, yet deeply wrong. Jamie wonders whether destiny protected her, or whether destiny simply needed her alive for something still to come. That thought troubles him more than any battle ever did. Claire sees another danger. If time allowed Faith to live in secret, then it may demand payment. Outlander has never offered miracles without consequence. Claire fears that Faith's return is not the end of a story, but the start of a reckoning. Every thread pulled from the past threatens to unravel something in the present. This section of the episode leans heavily into unease. There is no celebration, no joyful reunion yet. Instead, there is caution, watching eyes, unspoken warnings. The family feels watched by time itself, as if the universe is waiting to see what they will do next. Faith's return also raises a haunting possibility. If she was hidden once, could she be taken again? That fear lingers beneath every conversation. Love becomes fragile, hope becomes dangerous, and trust becomes something no one gives freely anymore. The ripple effect reaches beyond the family. It touches the idea of legacy. Jamie and Claire have always believed their story would end with sacrifice, but Faith suggests something else, that their legacy may be unfinished, that their bloodline carries a purpose still unfolding. By the end of this section, one truth stands above all others. Faith's return is not just about correcting the past, it is about reshaping the future. Every choice from this moment forward carries more weight than ever before. Time has given something back, but time never gives without taking something in return, and the price has not yet been revealed. Every story must end somewhere, but what if the ending is changed at the very last moment? What if the final season of Outlander is no longer about saying goodbye, but about facing a truth that arrives too late to ignore? By the time episode 1 reaches its final moments, one thing becomes clear. Faith's return is not a twist meant to shock the audience and move on. It is the emotional foundation of the entire final season. Everything that follows will rise or fall because of this single truth. Jamie and Claire are no longer walking toward an ending shaped only by sacrifice. They are walking toward an ending reshaped by revelation. For years, the heart of their story was endurance. They survived loss, separation, war, and time itself. The final season could have focused on closure alone. Instead, Faith's return changes the question completely. This is no longer about how Jamie and Claire survived the end. It is about how they live with what was taken from them and then returned when it almost feels too late. Faith represents unfinished business, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Jamie and Claire believed they had made peace with the past. Episode 1 proves that peace was built on incomplete truth. The final season now asks them to confront something far more difficult than grief. It asks them to face stolen time, years that cannot be recovered, love that was delayed, not denied. This shift changes the tone of the season. There is a quiet urgency now. Every moment matters more because there is less time left to make it right. Jamie is no longer just fighting to protect what he has. He is fighting to understand what he lost and whether it can still be honored. His strength, once defined by survival, is now tested by vulnerability. Claire's journey becomes even more complex. She has always lived between logic and faith, between medicine and miracles. Faith's return forces her to accept that not everything can be explained or fixed. Some wounds cannot be healed with skill or knowledge. They can only be carried forward with honesty. Claire must decide whether she can open her heart again without being consumed by what she missed. The episode also sets up a powerful theme for the season. Legacy. Jamie and Claire have always believed their legacy was written in sacrifice. Faith challenges that belief. Their legacy may now include reunion, truth, and forgiveness. But those things are not simple. They come with pain. They demand courage of a different kind. Faith's presence reshapes the meaning of the end. If she lived, then the story of Jamie and Claire does not end only with them. It extends forward, carrying the weight of everything they endured and everything they were denied. That realization gives the final season a sense of purpose that goes beyond farewell. There is also a warning woven into this moment. Outlander has never allowed happiness without consequence. Faith's return feels fragile, almost borrowed. The final season carries the tension of knowing that time may still demand something in return. The audience is left with an uneasy question. Was Faith spared to bring peace, or was she spared to complete something unfinished? As episode 1 closes, there is no clear answer, and that is intentional. The writers choose restraint over resolution. They understand that the power of this moment lies not in explanation, but in possibility. Jamie and Claire stand at the edge of their story, not knowing whether the path ahead leads to healing or heartbreak. What makes this beginning so strong is that it refuses to comfort the audience. Instead, it invites them to walk the final journey alongside the characters, to feel the weight of every decision, to question fate, love, and time one last time. Faith's return does not erase the past. It reframes it, and in doing so, it changes how the end will be remembered.